Alright, Gary here with Crazy Cluckers Farm, and today I wanted to discuss about incubating chicks. I want to start off. I know a lot of people say, well, if you get around a 50% hatch, that's not bad. But really, you can do a lot better than that, and it's not difficult. And I mean, I'll show you a few things. This is our incubator room here, and that's a little painting we never figured out what to do with. One I did but many years ago. Anyway, so we're in here. We just kind of completed a hatch. It was 49 chicks, and 47 are in front of you. One there in the little boxes is excuse me, my voice is all choked up from allergies. Anyway, the one in the little box is having feet problems, or its left leg. It kept holding it up. And we were going to treat it for that curl toes, where the toes kind of go like that, and you put a band-aid on it, and or you put a piece of cardboard, whatnot, under it to kind of flatten it out. But it's not. It doesn't really seem to be that. I think that's maybe an after result. It seems to be its left leg. Anyway, so we got it in this box right now just to kind of restrict its movement a little bit and hold it in a little channel right there. And then, so if it doesn't go over on its back, which is the problem, then it's got something somewhere to grab or lean against to help flip it back. It's kind of resting up right now. Just about went to his back. Anyway, if this doesn't work, Lan wanted to suspend its legs, which you kind of cut out a little sling for it and put it in the top of a jar and let its legs hang down in the jar. So we'll try that. Anyway, so on to incubation. So what have I got? First, let me show you my setup here. That's all for lockdown, all that, and board. And over here now it's everything's trashed and junky, but for actual incubation, after Rand collects the amount of eggs that she wants, we actually got 3 Brinzies, another one down there. And we can't put all 3, it was a big load, but this one wasn't, and so we use these Brinzies all the way up until time to put them in lockdown. And because they have a lot of control built in, I don't know if you can see on the little thing, it tells you the temperature in there and the humidity. The humidity's at 54, but you'll see the little pump over here turning, and it'll soon be back up to 55. Temperature's 99.5, which is what we use. And she's got colored eggs in there from black and blue, and then something else, something special. I don't remember what it was. So these trays, we've taken everything out. We went through. We had some that we had to, you go through. So this is step 1 right here. And so after 7 days, you put them in here, and you'll see up on our chart right there. You got, our candling chart. So we just put down what's good out of the batch. And so this is the batch that's actually in right now. So they stayed good all the way until time to go in. But we candle them at 7 days, and then 14 days, and then right before they go in. And it's locked down 26 days. I'm getting mixed up with geese. I think they're 28. Anyway, so whatever lockdown day is. And so they'll stay in these incubators up until lockdown time. And so each time we candle them, well, this is a regular candling flashlight. We got one that's even more powerful than that. But we just go through, and I put the lid over on top of the other one with, you know, something on there so I don't scratch it, and we just start whipping through them. And I grab eggs, and she's got the candling, and she's good, bad, and so, and you know, we sometimes go through a lot of bad ones. It just depends on which flock. Some of them's older, and oh, squirrel, little guy's on his back. And I'm not going to do anything, at least for a few minutes, and we're going to see if it gets back over itself. It should. It has been. Anyway, so we got a pretty good system down, and Luann's got a really good eye. She's outside doing some stuff, but sometime maybe I'll have her explain what she looks for. But she looks at them, and I grab them, hand it to her, grab the one and put it if it's good or if it's bad. And so, we do that, basically 3 times before it goes into lockdown. And that's important on your hatch rate, because if you're not seeing them right, then you're putting chicks that it's not even giving your hatch rate a chance into lockdown. Okay, so that's why we have a high incubation hatch rate, because of the first stage, because Luann really picks out which one's bad or which one's good. So then the second stage, we go to these farm innovators. I'm not promoting them. We had to buy everything you see in this room. We're just a new burgeoning channel, and I'm not promoting anything. This is just what we happen to use. And let me tell you what, we got thermometers on the farm innovators, all of them, which they're not all calibrated or anything like that either. But I kind of calibrate them against each other. I know which ones is low, and I try to pick. This time it was basically 3. This incubator here, it was a clean one. We didn't use it. These 3 here we used for lockdown, and this one here is just our dry out. So it doesn't have any water, no humidity. We keep it open. All the plugs are out. That way, when we'll pull them out of lockdown, and no, we're not big on, oh, it's locked down, never open that thing. That's the wrong way to do it. You have to just be careful when you open it, and I'll go into that. But anyway, so we pull them out as soon as they look like they're dry enough or strong enough, and we put them into here. And you can see all the feather dust that's on there, as compared to there's hardly any and hardly any. And so it kind of helps me with cleaning a little bit. But the main reason is because the humidity is better. The little chicks don't overheat. They'll tend to overheat in here because you need to have this up. I'll keep this down a little bit, maybe around 96, something like that. And these around 98, 99. That's just my preference. You put it at what you want. But I'm the guy to, we are the ones that have the 90, we have a 95%, 94% hatch. And that's part of the reason why. And I try to keep my humidity when I'm first starting. Well, here, I'll show you my humidity. And I'll show you what all I'm doing. Here, let's do this. Let's hold on 1 minute.
1 minute later.
Here's what's going on here. That's just some stats, and they're probably outdated now. I used to, on each one of the hygrometers, I'd compare them to each other. Let me get one. They're pretty cheap. I don't even know what the price is now. So that's probably accurate. This room is 79 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's of course we got air on it. Summertime, it's 39% relative humidity, and I'll take them when they're all in the box, or I haven't done it once this year like that, but over here I compared the relative humidity to each one, so I could see just how bad they varied, and the ones that were like-minded, those would be the ones I use. Meaning, in other words, the ones that were the closest, so that gave me some consistency, and I would put those in my incubators. Anyway, so that's what that little chart is, and this is, we started our year off back in February, and our first time of hatching geese, and man, it was a killer. And so we're not bragging about that hatch rate. We never even got a 50%. Everybody has to learn somewhere, and we're nowhere near learned how to do them. But chickens, we've hatched chicks for three years, maybe 4 anyway. And so we've got that dialed in pretty good. The Brinzies help, but we used the Brinzies for these. It didn't help for that. So mainly the Brinzies makes the early going, for almost a month easy for us, and we need easy. We've got a lot to do on this farm. So anyway, then it started with chickens here. I didn't write the date on. Oh, this was back in April, and so we started doing chicks in April. And so then out here, I didn't put the hatch rates, but I usually would put, okay, this one was 40 and 38 hatched. I don't know if that's all part of that group. Anyway, this group here, all of them hatched. Out of that, what we got? 3, 4. Okay, so that was 7 and 17. So 20. I'm under pressure. Anyway, but that was a good hatch. This hatch is the hatch we got going right now. That was 49. And right now we have 47 that hatched. I've still got the incubators, or the middle center incubator on, and it has 2 in there. And it was from a couple of our older hens, I think. So wasn't real sure how it was going to go, but they look good going in, and that's the whole secret, is make sure all your eggs, candle them before you put them in there. That's important, and you can't see a lot though. At that point, yeah, we're going to have to deal with this little guy. He didn't make it. He's on his back, and we'll show you. Yeah. So, come on, let's get up. Come on. There we go. Stay in your little channel. Don't get too rambunctious. I'm just hoping the more he uses that leg, the stronger it's going to get. That's my thinking on that. Yeah. So anyway, and here's part of using these farm innovators. They're pretty tricky, but at nighttime, especially, temperatures just range. Things fluctuate. Sometimes the eggs, they seem to suck the humidity out, and I don't know. There's a lot of balance, but anyway, I watch them like a hawk, and I'm a little on the anal side about it. And you can see, like this hatch here was locked down on June the 2nd, and I started up the the incubators, the lockdown incubators. I started them up around 8 o'clock that evening, and I think it was around 10. When we started loading them up with chicks, with eggs. Excuse me. So by midnight, then I started checking. So about once every hour, yeah, I went to bed, but I would get up and I'd come in here and check them. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 9:30 the next morning. And I would check each one, the humidity and slash temperature. Humidity slash temperature. And in that way I kept a record. And I could see which one, some of them had a little more eggs than the others, so I kept a record of how each one was fluctuating, and I'm not relying on memory. You can see it. Things were going pretty even keel. This one, at first it was the C unit, the one on the left, and I think I amped that up a little bit by, let me show you here, like some of the things I do. Let me show you those, and make sure it's the right one. Yep. And you see this tape. Well, they got these little holes. This bandage was going to be to fix his feet, but they got these little vent holes, and so that's part of how I control my humidity. I'll take and tape them up. Of course, you got these holes here. I drop a thermometer through that one, but I can still open the hole if I need to. And sometimes, and I'll start off. I'm going to show you on this one, a clean one. So these incubators are all built alike. Of course, it gets a plug here. Now they've been washed, this stained, but this is the secondary hole back here. See, it's got a hole in the finger is, and here's one in the front, which is the main. So it's got more channels. So I take this baster and I fill it up. I'll just take and fill it about halfway, and I take, with this thing laying down, I'll take and fill that with that halfway, and this one I do halfway twice, or one whole baster full, and that's usually how I start. And then after that, you can hear the brinzy turning. After that, because the grate's in there and the lid's on, and temperature and everything, then you start putting them through there, and generally, unless alright, so the battery got hot. So anyway, I wanted to explain that as we go along, we don't leave our chicks in there for real long. Once they start fluffing a little bit, you'll know for sure if you leave a chick in there so long and you see it there and it starts panting. You're already pushing way too long. You needed to get it out of there. And we usually pull ours quicker. When they look like they're dry and stable, walking around pretty good, they're active, we'll pull them out. We'll put them in the dryer incubator. And so usually after a chick gets done hatching, or two, I usually I try to run around. You can see by most of my stats there, I'll usually run around 75 is what I like to have it. It drops down lower sometimes, which I try to correct as soon as possible, which is why in the wee hours of the morning, it tends to do it most of the time then. But anyway, not always. I like having it in the mid 70s is where I try to keep my humidity. And so then my temperature is around 99. It could be anywhere from 98 to 100 to be fine. Anyway, so I want to keep it around the mid 70s. And but whenever you hatch, whenever a little chick hatches out, then it's gonna spike on you, like up in the 80s, sometimes even low 90s. Okay, so it's a little too much. A high humidity will cause a chick to grow too fast, and when it's too fast, they wear out quicker, and it's harder for them getting out of shell. You know, humidity is a complicated thing when it comes to hatching eggs. Excuse me, one has got it bad today. Anyway, so when the humidity is high, though, you play that to your advantage. For one, you need to open it up and let in some air. You could, and so while you're letting in some air, you may as well go ahead and grab some eggs, throw them in the trash bag. Just help clear things for the new guys that's in here running around, or if you have some that's running around in here and they're ready, then you want to grab them, and then you just bring them over here and put them in the dryer incubator. And usually by 6 or so in the morning, I'm pretty well asleep from getting up at different hours during the middle of the night. And so Luann, she comes in here and she starts throwing them in the dryer, and she takes and like the ones that she wants to separate, then she'll take these little baby rubber bands and put on their legs so she can identify which ones is what. And that's why we could have easily, this 49, we could have used, we several times put like 25 eggs in one incubator, and I'm sure there's people out there that's done more. But remember, this video is about having a 95 or 90% hatch rate. Okay, so we don't ever go more than 25 per incubator. And there's sometimes this incubator, see if you can see in here, it's got eggs in it. So let me tip you over here a little bit, and you can look in here, and you can see that that little divider thing in there, this right there. And I zip ties those little things. I think they're for crocheting, and I make a little divider in there, and it's got compartments. See if you can see that egg right there in the corner. It's a real light colored egg. Breast eggs really should be light colored. Some of them are darker. You can see a brown one back there too. But we strive to get lighter colored, but that's last on the list of things to do. Anyway, but see, I made little compartments. So this one, she had 3 different things she wanted to keep separated. So that's how we do that. And so still 49 eggs, we used 3 lockdown, plus also the 4th one for the dryer. And when we're done, I just simply take them out. I got a utility tub outside. I got hot water out there. I just wash them all in Dawn soap and hot water. And sometimes I'll use a little bit of bleach, but I really rinse it out good whenever I do that. Most of the time I just use the hot water, and then I take this blower thing and the lid. I don't do a lot because it's got electronics up there, but I'll take my blower. Blows like 75 miles an hour, just a little small one, and you could use a vacuum too. But I blow all the dust out of everything on the top, and then I just give it a little light wipe down with a damp cloth and dry it. So that's how I do that, and so that's pretty well, I think, covers it. I'll add a little bit more notes if I miss something. But, you know, it's, well, okay, I will add one thing. And I've had a video on this with Goose, I did it. And I might have videoed a chick. But I'll take and, where's my little box? And I think I did have to do a chick this year and say that it was going to shrink wrap. And it had a pip. But for whatever reason, it took a long time. It had an actual hole in the shell, and it took a long time. It was getting weak, and also, even though the humidity is reasonably high, that still allows air and that inner membrane. Eggs have the shell, and inside that is an outer membrane, and inside that is an inner membrane. And the inner one is where the shrink wrap comes from. And they get a hole all the way through, and it kind of just starts adhering. It starts drying up, and it dries up around them if they take too long. And you know, some people kind of take most people say lockdown is lockdown, don't touch it, don't open it. We don't take that approach at all. And there has been times that I have operated these wires. I go through these little holes with two wires. One wire I'll hold it, the egg kind of still, not very still, and the other one will pick a little bit of whatever I need to do. But also, I've gone in there just quickly. I grab the egg that I'm suspect or worried that it's going to shrink wrap, and then I'll take a little handy piece of wire here, and I just start kind of chipping around where the zip is, and I help it get out. I'll kind of break the shell. I'll try to be careful with the inner membrane. If you know, they'll bleed a lot of times, and if they're bleeding too much, well, that's stuff that's supposed to have absorbed into them, and so it creates a weak chick. So you have to be really careful. If there's no blood when you do it, well, you definitely caught it at the right time. They were supposed to hatch, whatever reason they couldn't hatch, and so you've done them a favor. And this year I had one that was actually shrunk wrap on the inside, no blood at all on the outer membrane and anyway, so I got it all out, and then I'll take and I take the cap off. Let me show you. Well, I don't know where the lid part of this one is, but you know, it'll be in there still. And so I take the little lid part off and set it aside and kind of tear the membrane. And the chick is there, so I let the chick kind of fall out a little bit, but it still has an umbilical cord that's attached in here, to stuff that still needs to kind of, you know, I like for it to get its own. So it's out of there, but it's not completely detached. So I'll kind of set it back in there and let it finish it all up on its own. And it works well. Now, if you're one of those, oh, this is nature, you should let nature take its course. In other words, let it die, so be it, it's going to be a weak chick anyway. Well, that's not true. And first of all, there ain't nothing natural about an incubator. That's about as foreign and man-made as you can get. Okay? So if you have assumed that responsibility, you should assume that responsibility throughout the entire hatch and ensure that little baby has the best chance. Even though that little baby might turn out to be a rooster and later end up in your freezer, you want to give it the best chance and best life that you can. And that's what we do here at Crazy Clucker Farm. And so if I have to hatch them, and it's always a hard decision, or if I have to intervene, it's always a hard decision when I should do that, if I should do that. And there's been a couple of times that I called it wrong, not very often. And I've probably done, I don't know, I've probably done maybe 10, somewhere between 10 and 20 over 3 years. And I don't know how many chicks. I'll write down how many chicks we've done. I'll put some additional stats up for you. I'll share those with you. And anyway, so, you know, by all means intervene if you feel capable. It's not that bad. It's just everything's little baby steps. And I'll include a link to one of the videos. So there we have it. So this one we still have 2 in. This one's empty. This one's empty. Is this one unplugged? No. This one needs to be off. That was to the dryer, but I'm sure we're done. This one was unplugged already. Anyway, so All right, so that's a wrap on this one. I wish you the best of luck in whenever you incubate, and just try to understand what I'm trying to tell you. You can get a higher hatch rate than 50%. Let me tell you, or 60, or 75, or even 80. You can have a 90 to 95% hatch rate. Sometimes we get 100%. I'm not here trying to brag. I'm just trying to tell you the steps we take and what we're careful with and what we focus on to achieve those kind of numbers. And I'm not afraid of saying that because I'm going to jinx myself, because this is all calculating a scientific approach. So that's what we have. You got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'd love to answer back the best of my ability. So, Gary, Crazy Cluckers out.